Okay, I'm going to show you how to rebuild door hinges for a 77 Cordoba or any other B-body or anything else. Chrysler, that era. As you can see, it's got some slop to it. You can kind of hear it a little bit maybe too. This is the before product and this is an after product. See? Nice and snug. Alright, so as much as I would rather just use a factory original one, none of it available. Nobody makes an aftermarket. Nobody even makes a kit for these specifically. So what I did, I roamed around and see if we can see this, if it'll focus for me. Come on. Well, there we go. Sorry about that. 675-5151. It's a door hinge repair kit. It's from Napa. It's a Dorman product. They're the ones that package them. So you can find them at other places under different lines. But that's the number. This was the cheapest one that I could find that had everything I needed it. Because well, this is only one pin left. You'll see the other one in a little bit here. And bushings and stuff. And they're all the same size. Have to cut the pin down to length a little bit. But they're all the same diameter, which makes all the rest of it simple. So it'd be nice to find NOS ones, which I'm sure don't exist anymore. But this is going to have to work. And now it's rebuildable again later if necessary. So there it is. Okay, door hinges often have this problem. See if you can see this. Nice and loose and sloppy. That's because, well, Mopar never put any bushings in there. I can show you what it looks like. This one's already taken apart. So it's just a hole, hard steel pin. Well, they eventually wear out. Bushings are nice because they're replaceable, but they're also brass, because like that, there you go. And they wear out really fast. So I guess I'll take longevity over tougher to replace later on. So anyway, these hinges are for a 77 Cordoba, and they'll be for any of the 75 to 9 B bodies, and probably a lot of other stuff are going to use exactly the same pieces. Upper door hinges, you know, they're fine. There's just a wee little bit of wiggle in there, which you probably need just a smidge anyway. Otherwise it gets too tight and it'll bind. Same thing with this. There's just I don't know if you can hear that or even see it probably. Just a touch. So those are fine. Sorry, I'm wiggling the whole table. And here this is where the pin actually would go through. Just like so. I pounded it out so it's not going to go back in there very easy. Anyway. The kit I'm using, it's Napa number 6755151, and it comes with all of these parts. There we go. 4 bushings, 2 pins, and I'll have to drill these all out to make sure that the pins and the bushings go in the respective pieces, and we put it all back together again. Simple. Okay, I got some holes drilled. Normally the bushings, when you put them in, they should fit pretty snug. These are a little bit sloppy, you know. Normally, if you have to pound them in just a little bit, that's ideal, because then you know darn well they're not coming out. You know, these measured 0.49 something, and half-inch drill bit makes them a little bit sloppy. Whatever the 15-30 seconds is, they won't go in, so that's just the way it's going to be. Once they get pinched in there, they're going to be fine. This one, it's really tight, and I hit it with the hammer. It will go through, but I'm not going to, once I drive it in there, it's not coming out. And normally they're held in. You can kind of see the end of the pin is smashed over just a little bit, you know, on each side. You know, if a guy wanted to get fancy, because this one is actually, you know, longer than by a little ways, you could, you know, cut a groove in there and put an E-clip on. Or what I'm just going to do, since I don't have a way to match the factory, I'm just going to take and I'll trim it down just a little bit maybe, because the other one is super long. But I'll trim it down a little bit, and then I'll just put a spot of weld on there so it can't walk it so it can't walk back out ever. And if you ever do need to redo them again, well, it's not that terribly difficult to undo that. So, but I'll show you. Slide those in, and voila. This isn't really the way it goes together, but you can kind of see, you know, that it fits in there nice and snug. It's not too tight. I mean, once it gets in there, it's going to be in there, so it'll be fine. So the next thing is put it all together. I'll put a little rust preventive paint in here before I put it all together, so all my fresh iron doesn't rot right away. And I'll put it together. Okay, that is done and put back together again. You can see there's my weld. It looks kind of ugly. The second one will be better because now I've got my welder adjusted. Not a whole lot of time to adjust anything, but it works. It's not coming out. The bushings are in there. It's nice and snug. There's no slop in it. You know, and it turns nice. It turns free. It's a little bit stiff right now, which is fine. It'll loosen up. And then once it's painted and put a little oil in there too, that'll make it a lot nicer too. So that is one done hinge. Now I'll get to the other one. Okay, I got the second one done. Turns pretty nice. The spring isn't in it. I'll explain that in a little bit. See, a little bit of a stiff spot in there, but like I say, you know, once use it a little bit, it'll be fine. The spring, as you can see on this end, broke off right there, and it's supposed to sit, you know, about like that. You can see it's supposed to go all the way down through here. It does not. It just barely engages the detent wheels on this hinge. It'll work if I need it to. I'm going to see if I can find another one, or I don't know, because they're different left to right. I already tried finding a different one from the other side. Doesn't work because they've got a little bit of a, they're canted a little bit from one side to the other. So I don't know, I'll have to come up with something. But otherwise, these two hinges are now, I consider them rebuilt, and neither weld looks terribly pretty, but you know, that's on the bottom of the hinge, and unless you're laying on your back looking at the door hinge somehow, you're never going to see that, and no one's ever going to care because they work like they're supposed to. Now, it's off the paint. Okay, as you can obviously tell, they are now painted. All four of them. One thing I'll have to do then later, I don't have the camera on the tripod right now. You can see there's not much paint on that little spot. Obviously because the hinge was sitting like that when I had it hanging to paint. And later on I'll blow a little more paint in there and cover some of those areas. Same thing with this one. This one doesn't turn as nice because the detent wheels are actually engaged like they should be. So that's really about it. Rebuilt and painted. Pretty awesome. Yay!